She's a shitty person. I don't think she gets happy ending. So a horse walks into rehab. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Oh man. So here we are with the sixth and final season. Ironically, the same season where House went into rehab. You know, Dad never forgave the show for that. He felt like it diminished the character, it changed the dynamic too much, and the show wasn't as fun after House was sober. I don't know. I can see both sides of that. I mean, he did eventually, go back to drugs and shit. Hopefully, there's not too many spoilers. This shows it finished fucking 9 years ago. Watch it, motherfucker. But it's a risk. I will say this: it's a risk. It's a risk to change the entire dynamic, especially at the end of the series. Because look, we're not talking about real people. Real people, of course, you want them to go into rehab. Of course, you want them to get better. This is fiction. Is the show going to be fun if he's sober? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. And this is a comedy, which is even more touch and go than like a drama. A drama, there's things you can do with him being sober. A comedy, where's the chuckles going to come from, man? It can't all be on Peanut Butter's shoulders. I know Mr. Peanut Butter's jacked, and he has wide shoulders, but, there's only so much you can do here, right? I think what I'm going to do here, actually, is I'm going to make this a separate video. I'm going to make my season 6 predictions and season finale predictions and like where I think that everybody's going to end up. Just make this a separate video because otherwise this intro will be way too fucking long. So this is going to be its own video. I just made that decision just now. So yeah, look, I'm like a dog. I'm like Mr. Peter. I don't plan ahead nothing. I don't plan shit. I'm I take it as it goes. Improvisation is like playing jazz. Whatever metaphor you want to use. That's how I roll. I ain't playing this shit. So in Shadow Dog, Shadow Dog Productions, it kind of fits. I'm a dog. What are you gonna do? So with that in mind, that means I can stretch my legs out and take my time with these predictions. Let's go down the list. Diane. All along I've been predicting her and BoJack would get together. It's clear that that's not going to happen now. That's not where this story is going. So where is this story going? What'd be interesting is if we have a character death before the end of the show. Like we have Sarah Lynn was a recurring character. We haven't had a main character die. We're in the final season now. What if this episode 15, since it's not going to be in episode 11, episode 15 involves BoJack somehow inadvertently causing Diane to die or to go in a coma or something. I know this is dark, but maybe that would be the impetus he needs to finally forever kick the habit or whatever. Or BoJack might die at the end of the series. We'll get back to that. I think there's a strong possibility Diane could die. She's been the core character. She's been his conscience. She's his Jiminy Cricket. More so, I thought Todd was going to be that, but Todd just really hasn't had many conversations with BoJack in the last few years. He's had a couple, and they've been impactful, but not many. So, I think I'm going to predict she's going to die before the end of the series. And that's what's going to finally motivate BoJack to change for good, because I don't think this therapy thing's going to work. It may work for half a season, which they did break this up into 2 halves, so that's fitting. Because I just, she's been kind of stumbling around. Another reason why I don't want her to get together with BoJack is her entire identity has been a relationship with Peanut Butter. Have her stand on her own 2 feet, Have her do something just for her, which I think is what they're doing with the character. Like, they had her cut her hair, she went driving off, like we did this season 5 with her. So there's that. So, yeah, so I think she's going to die. So, if she doesn't die, she's going to become some kind of like an entrepreneur, own her own business, like something with media or entertainment or something, writing. Not necessarily entertainment, writing. Helping people. Hell, maybe she'll open a rehab clinic. I don't know. I'm going all over the place. I don't want to shotgun a bunch of predictions. Number one, she's going to die. If she doesn't die, she'll probably open up her own magazine or something, which won't be about celebrities. It'll be about helping people. So those are my final thoughts on that. Locking in those predictions. All right. Next up, Mr. Peanut Butter. I would love to see him change. I'd love to see him stop being a fucking Johnny Depp and just constantly dating young girls who, as soon as they get old enough to realize like he's shallow, they dump his ass. I want him to change. They called him out on this last season. That makes me think they might change. He might change, but he's had a very static character. He doesn't have any character growth. He has this horseshoe falling out of his ass all the time, so he's always lucky. Those kind of characters, they don't really have an arc. They have a line. He's there for other characters to bounce off of. He's not there to have his own story. So I think he's a static character. I think he's be the exact same way he was at the end of the series as when he began the series. He may want to change. He may have a moment of reflection. He may even dump Pickles or whatever the fuck that ugly bitch's name is. He may want to dump her, but it's an ugly braided dog. I'm sorry. The dog is fucking ugly. I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to be hateful here, but like, there are pretty dogs and there are ugly dogs, and her braided dog is ugly. Just saying. So he's going to dump her ugly ass. But I think he'll just go back to the end of the series. He's going to be back where he was. He's going to be with some other chick. Maybe it'll be BoJack's funeral. But, yeah, he's a static character. He's not going to have an arc. Todd is interesting because you would think Todd's also a static character. He just has all these bullshit shenanigans, random ass shit. Nothing cohesive, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, nothing sticks, nothing, like, there's no continuity as far as, like, don't get me wrong, there's continuity. He refers back to previous shit. But Breaking Bad, for instance, one thing happens, and the next thing happens as a result of that thing, and builds on it. And then the next thing happens as a result of that thing, and builds on it. And it's dominoes with Breaking Bad. Todd's arc isn't dominoes, he's just all over the place. He's running from one side of the room to the next side of the room. Like, nothing leads into anything else, right? So, I predict that's actually going to change this season. I think he's going to have an actual story arc because they've kind of been doing this with the whole, wanting to find somebody to spend time with, the asexual thing, all that stuff. I think he's going to find somebody that makes him happy. I don't know at what point in the season it'll happen, maybe towards the end. I think he's the character who gets out of this. He's the one who gets out of this show being happy. He's the one person who's happy because he's the one pure character. He's not a piece of shit. Diane's a piece of shit. She's done a lot of shitty things. Done a lot of selfish things. There are reasons for this, don't get me wrong, but, like, there we are. BoJack's done a lot of shitty things, obviously. Peanut Butter's done a lot of shitty things. He doesn't mean to. BoJack's self-aware, and then he still does shitty things. That makes it worse. Peanut Butter's not self-aware, but he still does it. He still hurts people. Todd is the one non-shitty person in the entire show. I think he gets out of here with a happy ending. And I think a lot of it's going to be some personal growth. Maybe it's not even he finds somebody to spend time with. Maybe it's like me, in my life, I've found that I can be happy just being with myself. I don't need to glom onto somebody, attach myself to somebody like a fucking parasite in order to be happy. I can be alone and be happy. Maybe Todd will discover that, and he doesn't need anybody else. He can just be happy on his own. However it happens, I don't know what his happiness looks like at the end of the day, but I think he leaves this series happy. I really believe that. Okay, so now we go with Princess Caroline. What's her story arc this season? She got the baby at the end of last season. What's going to happen with that? How is she going to be able to juggle everything? It reminds me of season 4 of Dexter when he was like, the question they were asking, before every season of Dexter, they would ask a question. For season 3, the question was, could he have a best friend who knew about his life? Could he have that? Well, the answer turned out to be no. Question for season 4 was, could he have it all? In other words, could he have a baby, have a wife, have a home with other kids, and also be a serial killer? The answer to that question also turned out to be no. Every season had a question. So that's what this kind of reminds me of. Can she have it all? Can Princess Caroline have it all? I'm going to say probably no, but I don't know what that entails. She's a shitty person. I don't think she gets happy ending. I think actions have consequences here, The shitty people don't get happy endings. It's kind of like Once Upon a Time. If you're a villain, you don't get your happy ending. If you're a hero, you do. That's the way it goes. Sorry. But I think she doesn't get a sad ending. I think Mr. Peanut Butter gets a sad ending, we realize he's still in the same place he's always been. That's kind of sad. Diane's ending may or may not be sad. BoJack's ending is definitely going to be sad. I think she gets a mediocre ending. It could be worse. It could be better. But mediocre is okay. Mediocre just means middle of the pack. Sometimes Twitter people talk, oh, this mediocre person hit this and this mediocre person that. Mediocre doesn't mean terrible. If they meant terrible, they would say terrible. If they meant stupid or worthless, they would say those words. Mediocre means in the middle. It's in the middle. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just in the middle. It's bland. So there are worse things in life than having a mediocre ending, So now we get to BoJack. Obviously, he's going to die at the end of the series. I just don't think there's any other way to end the show. You can't end the show with him being happy. That's not what this show is. It's not in the show's DNA. But dying isn't necessarily the worst thing. With Diane, it would be bad if it's somebody else's fault. I think if BoJack, maybe he dies, sacrificing himself for somebody, for his sister or something. By the way, speaking of her, I don't think she's going to be a big part of the show, which is why I'm not predicting that. I think he dies at the end of the series, but maybe he gets peace in the afterlife. Maybe he gets a conversation with his parents, or his mother probably, since we've spent so much more time with his mother, and he finds peace in that way. I can totally see that happen. This is that kind of show. Or maybe, episode 15, we think he's dead, and he's actually in a coma or some shit, and he has, like, the spirit walk, and he talks to these people, finds his peace, and then he wakes up in the final episode. Something maybe similar to the end of the house, where he finds out he has, 3 months to live or something, but he's okay with that. He's happy with that. So, I can see that happening for sure. Which kind of undercuts, I don't think they're going to kill Diane and BoJack. It kind of undercuts my prediction for Diane. I don't really know what's going to happen with Diane. She's like the biggest one I'm unsure of. I'm sure of all the others. I'm really sure. Diane, I just don't know. So I guess, okay, kill her off, right? Because I don't fucking know. So that's going to be the big question mark for me, Diane, honestly. So, because I am convinced BoJack's going to die, but I don't think they would kill BoJack and Diane. Both. One of them dies, one of them lives. I'm going to pick BoJack. That's how the show ends. That's the only way the show can end, in my opinion. Because otherwise, if it ends any other way, we're going to believe, well, he'll just fuck it up in the future. I don't care how happy they end the show. He's kicked the drugs. He's been fucking off drugs and alcohol for the entire season. He's been happy the entire season. He hasn't treated by like shit the entire season. We're going to believe if there was one more episode, he would fuck it up. We would always believe that. The only way the story can end with finality, where we know what's going to take place next, is if he dies. So that's my prediction with that. That's pretty much it. The only other prediction I have, since this is broken up into 2 parts, I think he's going to be sober for the first half, and he's going to fall off the wagon in episode 8. And then that's going to kick off the second episode. It's going to be kind of like a cliffhanger. Well, he's back to his old shit, and that's going to kick off the final 8 episodes for the second half of the season. So that's my overall season prediction, how it's going to be structured. Be interesting to see. And I don't know, this whole, if he's going to have a new character, a recurring character for the final season, because it is the final season. I think you break the rules in the final season. So I don't know if we're going to have that or not. He never did get a brother figure or a father figure. I guess they're just not going to do that. They didn't care. They did everything else. Flip was a recurring character for season 5, I guess. But he didn't really do much with BoJack. I guess he kind of gave BoJack a steady job for the season. But he didn't really do much with BoJack, right? So he was a weird recurring character, not unlike the other ones, where he would spend a lot of time with the person, and they would have an impact on him, for negative or positive. Oh, one more final prediction before I'm done. I think the Charlotte and Penny storyline is going to be wrapped up this season. They're going to do something with that. They are 100% going to do something with that. I don't know what it's going to take place. Maybe she'll get him locked up. Maybe she'll just get him publicly embarrassed. Maybe she'll get him canceled. I just looked it up. Season 6 premiered in October 25th, 2019, and then again in January 2020. I can't remember when the Me Too movement was, but I feel like the Me Too movement was before that. So maybe they'll wrap that into the storyline and get him canceled where he can't get a job and everybody in Hollywood hates him and shit. They're going to do something with that. That's been in the background vibrating for too long. They brought it back up again in a big way last season with Diane. They're going to do something with that. So something's going to happen with that. He's probably going to be publicly humiliated via that, and he will lose his career for good. Nobody will want to work with him. We're kind of like Kevin Spacey. Although what he did was way less worse than Kevin Spacey, obviously. That's going to somehow play into this, and that may be what we're talking about with the end of the first half of the season. So, but yeah, I'm ready to jump into this shit. So yeah, this has been its own separate video, but then next after this is going to be the premiere of season 6. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be right after this video.